Good evening and welcome into Love Yourself Spiritual Channel. My name is Peggy. I'm really pleased that you're here this evening. I am going to do another one of our major arcana reads, and in taking a look at spiritual energies that are offered to us by the universe, and then seeing what they might want to give us, our guides and the divine spirit might want to give us in regards to those energies. And the three that we're going to work with tonight, I am incredibly familiar with during the last several years of my healing journey. And the first one that we have tonight is number 11, Justice. Get the glare off of that. And Justice is about being fair. And as I always say, fairness starts with the self. And so being fair with yourself, being fair with others, taking accountability is all part of fairness. Making judgments in life, and then standing up for those judgments. And because everything in the universe has to balance, justice is obviously one of the most strong energies that deals with us when dealing with karmic journeys, karmic situations, and anything that has been out of balance, the universe is always seeking to bring into balance. So as simply as just just with yourself, even if you have not been loving yourself or been kind to yourself or been giving to yourself, the universe will find ways to not only point that out to you, but to force you to look at it, to bring it into balance. And that can look like in my life, that looked like me getting really sick, and then starting to see the patterns that I was sabotaging my own energy with and myself with, and not really loving myself in a lot of situations. So the next card we have is the Hanged Man. And the Hanged Man in most decks is hanging upside down, a lot of times hanging from a tree. And for me, trees in readings or in cards are always about resting. Trees are always about meditating, but the Hanged Man is about getting a new perspective. So possibly going upside down, seeing the world differently, seeing the situation differently, seeing yourself differently, seeing the patterns that you're keeping differently, as actually possibly not serving you. And then the last card's probably one of my favorite cards in the whole deck, and that's Death, the Death card. And the Death card, it's a transformation. Essentially, it's a transformation, because nothing is just like dead in situations. The situations in your life are always like, oh no, oh no, oh no, dead now. Oh, but look, something else is growing. Oh, that's okay. That's kind of how, and it's interesting because this energy around her is kind of swirling in a circle. And death is always about a situation ending that needs to end. Whether it's a pattern you're keeping, a cycle of life, a relationship. Death, while it's never comfortable, it certainly isn't comfortable, a lot of times it's very, very necessary. It certainly is a gift eventually. It doesn't always feel like one. It almost never feels like one in the moment, sort of like the towers. But if there's justice in it, then it's almost always a gift. So, and death is an energy, it's not always indicated, it's obviously not most of the time indicating an actual death. And even an actual death is a transformation, because spiritual energy never actually dies. It only transforms into something different. So let's see what the universe might want to teach us on these energies tonight. In light of possibly you having a healing journey or wanting to transform in some way in your life, and possibly the journey towards loving yourself. I think all journeys kind of have to eventually go there. If they don't actually start there, they eventually do end up going there. Everything starts with the self. dear person in my life who attempted to take his own life and was actually on the other side for a short period. And when he came back, he said, "It's only about love. That's all it's about. That's all it's ever been about." And he's a changed person, I can assure you. That's many years ago. Justice. Let's look at the Justice card. Okay. Our supporting energy, or the energy that is pushing, supporting this, is the Five of Pentacles. And fives are always about change. And Justice is always coming in to say, okay, this is out of balance. Time to set this right. Time to make a change. And the Five of Pentacles is about loss. It's about being left out in the cold, about feeling that things, not considered, not cared for. So definitely, if you're in a relationship, because of the Pentacles for me always indicate a 3D, anchoring something 3D about them, and which can be our relationships. It can be work relationships. It doesn't have to be. And a lot of times when we are under the influence of the energy of Justice, there's probably more than one place in our life that is out of balance. A lot of times because we are out of balance within. Six of Swords, High Priestess, and Judgment. Yeah. So our next card down in Justice, in the mental energies, because I read my downlines mental, emotional, and spiritual energies, like that. The Six of Swords. And the Six of Swords is about, because swords are about mind, in the mind, moving to calmer waters, gaining a calmer perspective. Possibly, there's always water in the cards. All this is a mermaid deck, so there's water in these cards. But in traditional decks, there's always water in the deck. And water is about the emotional heart space, and moving to calmer places within the heart and getting quiet in the mind, and allowing that information that's in the heart to come up and to come out and to be seen. And then in the heart space, the High Priestess. And the High Priestess is a major arcana energy. And the High Priestess is the intuitive ruler of the universe. She knows intuitively what is best to do in a situation, and that includes how to balance it, how to bring justice to a situation. And most of the justice that you will learn needs to be done is going to come from information that's in your heart. And that is 90% of the time when we're suppressing our emotions, and your emotions are your friends. Your emotions are there to tell you how to improve your life. And they will give you the power to do it. They will give you the courage to do it if you will not suppress them, if you will let them up and feel them fully. The information that they hold, the wisdom that they hold, is for you. Your emotions are never against you. They're always coming to give you information about changes that you could make if you allowed them to be seen. And so the High Priestess and the information that's in your heart that you're possibly suppressing, she's saying, go in there, get that out. Because that's where she intuitively works with you through. And in the spiritual energy, another major arcana card, the Judgment card. And the Judgment card is always about knowing, having sort of a bird's eye view, and knowing and being able to make a clear and concise judgment about something from a spiritual place, not from a place within just your mind or your selfish being, but judgment comes from the spiritual energy. So understanding that you may have to meditate, or you may have to disconnect, get into meditation, and the judgment to do what's right will always be there. Justice and judgment almost always kind of go hand in hand. They are a similar energy, although judgment's more like the gauntlet for me in the spiritual energy. Justice is always about just karmically setting things correct. And judgment is kind of the hammer that falls. And the energy or supporting the Hanged Man is the Four Swords. And this is, it's usually a warrior, but it's a call to rest. It's a call to put the thoughts down, put the sword down. Don't fight it. Just go and rest with yourself. Take a time out, take a pause. And then we have the Hanged Man. We have the Hanged Man, clarifying the Hanged Man, and then the Nine of Cups. Oh, I love the Nine of Cups. And the Four of Wands. Okay. Wow, that's really beautiful. Okay, so in the mental energy, the universe, again, just wants to push home. It's all about a new perspective, and that the new perspective will have to be held within the mind. And the way that you're going to have to get the new perspective is to go upside down. I don't think they could push that one any further. And then the Nine of Cups in the heart space. The Nine of Cups is the wish fulfillment. It's the thing that we truly, truly want. Which, if you are not loving yourself, and especially if you're a people pleaser, you're not going to be very in tune with what's going on in here. You may be more in tune with what someone else might like even than what you might like in a given situation. Or you may temper all of your wants through the understanding of what you think that the other would be good for the other person in the situation, rather than really checking into with you individually. What is my wish fulfillment? What brings me the most feeling of love and joy? And it's really important. It's really, really important to come from that perspective, because you have so much more to offer. It won't look like that. It may not feel like that until you get in there and start letting some of those emotions and some of that wisdom that's in those emotions out that you've been suppressing. And then the last card in the spiritual energy is the Four of Wands. And the Four of Wands is your foundation, your passionate foundation. It can indicate a relationship between two people, the foundation of the relationship. It can indicate home, it can indicate family, but the very, very close soul bond energies. For me, they're always, the Four of Wands always indicate some soul bonding, energies that we've been with for lifetimes. And that's really beautiful. And understand that what's best for you in the new perspective will be what's best spiritually for all of your Four Wands, all of your soul bond energy. Because when you are on alignment with you, what you do from that alignment will be best for everyone spiritually. And again, it won't look like that, and it won't feel like that until you do some of the work to let some of any stuck, suppressed emotions out, so that the wisdom that they're holding can be seen. Can't run a marathon with rocks in your shoes. Well, you can, but it won't be fun. Oh, the Lovers. Death. So in old tarot decks, well, I'll show you this one. The Lovers, the energy that is supporting you or you that you don't see. The Lovers in traditional decks used to be called the Choice, because it's something that you have to choose. It's often not easy, because the Lovers does indicate, it doesn't have to be lovers, but it does indicate almost always that there's a soul tie, a soul bond, a decision to come and have a karmic journey together. And a lot of deaths in your spiritual transformation are going to come to you as a result of interacting with these soul bond energies. Because that's what the point was, learning. The point was evolving when we came. The point was to learn to manipulate energy, as Ms. Campbell says. And these lovers, these soul bond energies, are going to be the greatest catalyst in your life until you evolve, and that other person especially too, evolves to a place where you understand that loving is the journey to evolving, and healing is a big part of that. Let's see what we have. The Moon. Knight of Pentacles, and the Eight of Swords. Interesting. Yeah, so a lot of times, our first card out is the Moon. A lot of times, when a death needs to occur, it won't be clear, because we like to hide things with the Moon card under the Moon. And when you push something into the Moon or under the Moon, you're basically just pushing it with your ego back into your subconscious and saying, I'm not going to deal with that right now. I'm going to suppress that. And the universe will cause a death if you allow things to mentally be under the Moon for too long a period of time and no evolution is taking place. And it generally does take some pain to get that, to shed some light, to get some clarity. Because when you're just like walking in the moonlight, things are in shadow. They're not clear. It's not easy to see. Where, if the sun is out, the details of a thing are simple to see. The clarity is just there. And so, the moon is about just the need to see things more clearly, to actually go and get more information, to not be complacent. And the Knight of Pentacles in the heart space, the Knight of Pentacles, Knights are always about taking outside of us what is in us and moving it forward. And Pentacles are always about doing the work, for me a little bit. And the Knight of Pentacles, if you're going to send a Knight to do something that needs to be detailed, it needs to be planned, it needs to be very concisely thought out, you're going to send the Knight of Pentacles. He's not going to move fast. So this isn't going to be fast moving. When there's a death, you need to sit to consider the death, make a plan as to how to deal with it, and how to transform out of it effectively, and then start moving that plan outside of yourself. As the information comes out from under the Moon, it becomes easier and easier as you get more clarity. And the only way to get that stuff out from under the Moon is to sit with uncomfortable emotions. And as you do, that information will come up and the clarity will be there, and then the Moon will go down and sun will come up. And the last card out is the Eight of Swords. And the Eight of Swords is a card of agreeing to be bound, blind, gagged, and barricaded in your mind. It's sword energy is always a mental energy card. It's always about in the mind. And it being here in the spiritual energy, I feel like the universe is just saying, the place that you get stuck, the place that you go blind, the place that you tie yourself to the post and feel like you can't get out is in your mind. That you're always free, and that you're always able to reach for better, that you don't have to stay in the shadow, you don't have to stay behind the Moon, that you can move out of it, but it's your mind that stops you. So, and I might do just a couple clarifiers on these downlines. I think they're pretty straightforward, but let me just have another. Aquarius Tarot, I believe. The Aquarian Tarot. Something like that. The other one is the Mermaid Tarot deck. I can look up who made them if somebody wants to know. But I think these first two downlines are really, really straightforward. But I'd like just a little more clarity on this last downline, Spirit. Knight of Pearls, Knight of Pentacles, yeah, so plan. Plan and take action outside of yourself, because the Knight of Pearls is the same card as the Knight of Pentacles. And Five of Swords. Avoid conflict in the mind. Okay. Oh, yeah. Yeah, so again, Knight of Pentacles. Make a plan. Don't be complacent. Move forward. Take it outside of yourself. And the Five of Swords is just about conflict, and it's a card of change. Fives are always about a change needing to occur. So the change, again, going back to the Hanged Man, the change needs to start within you. And then Ten of Wands, if you're someone who carries and knows that they carry too much of the burden, put half of the burden down. Give half of the burden. If it's the burden between you and another person, give half the burden to the other person, because they're in the relationship with you. Don't carry all of the burden in a relationship. And only take responsibility for your part of it. Do take responsibility for your part of it. Half the burden is yours, but you don't have to carry the full burden. But 10s are also the end of a cycle. And so when you get to the 10, all you have to do is put some of it down. Unload some of the burden that isn't yours to be carrying. And then if you do that, that's the star. You will get your wish. And a star is something that you always have to reach for. Your star is that aspect of your dreams that is going to be work to get to. And never let go of your dreams. Never let go of your star, because it is there to guide you. The passion that is within you, and that's a spiritual energy. That's a spiritually gifted energy to you. Always follow your passion. Always. Okay. I think that was really beautiful. I'm going to do maybe 1 or 2 oracle cards. I might do healing energy cards, because this is a healing energy kind of reading with all of these. The Hanged Man and death. Healing and transformation. What might you have for us from this healing energy deck that you would want to add to this reading tonight? Anything else, Spirit? Or is that good? We have choice, which, as I said, the Lovers used to be called the choice in tarot, so that's interesting. I choose serenity, light, and positive energy. No matter what I go through, I choose happiness. I rise above fear and direct my thoughts to God. And you know, I think that's really interesting, because I used to say, this is actually something that I learned from someone else. Abraham Hicks used to say, or had said this, and I picked it up from them. If you need anyone else to change for you to be happy, you'll never be happy. It is important that you're happy, because that's why you came. And so you need to be happy regardless of what someone else does or how they change, or you'll never be happy. If you're always waiting for someone to do something and putting your happiness off until they become different, you'll never be happy. And so say to yourself, when you are negatively stuck in your mind and feel bound by your own thoughts that they'll never be different, that your happiness isn't up to them. Your happiness is only and ever up to you. And that if you need anyone else to change for you to be happy, you're never going to be happy. So I would say, if I need so-and-so to change for me to be happy, I'll never be happy. It's important that I be happy, and so I will be happy now. And I would say that's because I was in a pretty toxic relationship when I learned it. Oh, I don't know, 100 times a day. And it did help. And it did help. And it made me responsible for my happiness, because I was constantly giving my power away to that other person by just having negative thoughts about them. And I wasn't happy while I was doing it. Faithfulness. I commit to my mind, heart, and will. I am devoted to the needs of my soul. I trust in myself, in God, and the universe. Trust. Trust is important. That was one that I actually struggled with quite a bit during my journey. I didn't even realize that I was until somebody said, well, just surrender it. And I thought, okay, well, I can do that. And then when it came time to actually do it, I was like, I'm not sure if I actually trust God. I don't know that I do. And that actually really helped me, because it helped me to deepen my relationship there and to go in and to look at what the blocks to fully trusting were. And that was just part of my journey. But was something that I had to deal with along the way, and that the universe, the divine, is always faithful, always there, always supporting. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed this reading, and if you feel called to a personal reading or to spiritual counseling, my email is in the description box, and I hope that you have a blessed day. Namaste.